Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare.
The one with the red-eyed ghost boy in the old hotel freaked me out as a kid. Even today I'm too scared to sleep in old hotels. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. What urban legend terrifies you the most?
Number 1.
Commenter. I still run out of the basement when I turn off the lights because someone might kill me. Person B. The stairs in my basement have no back to them for the bottom half. Perfectly designed for something to reach out and grab my ankle on the way up. Funny story, my dad heard me running like hell up the stairs, and held the door closed. I started checking the door and crying, even though he only held it shut for less than 5 seconds. Person C. The bar I work at is in a 100-year-old building downtown. At the end of the night we have to bring trash, bottles, etc. downstairs to the basement, which extends throughout the entire building. It's huge. Most of the lights are motion activated, and sometimes they turn on, sometimes they don't. The rumor is that the ghost is named Charlie, and will turn the lights on for you if he likes you, and also if you sing the theme song from Charles in Charge. On the weekends it's not too bad, people still upstairs that would potentially hear me screaming like a girl. But on my Tuesday night shift, 2 a.m., and most likely no one in this entire downtown office building. It's a different kind of eerie. Dead silent, except for the sounds of an old building. The lights on our side are manual, and once they're off, who knows what the hell will happen with the rest, and the path to the elevator. I still don't feel comfortable down there by myself during the week. Once the elevator is open I jump in, knife in my hand, sprung against the inside wall while I anxiously await the closing of the elevator door, and my return to the surface. I've survived another week. Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge of our wrongs and our rights. So I say I want Charles in charge of me. Person D. I still sometimes spook myself in the night when I go from the bathroom to my bedroom, which is like 2 steps across the hall. My hallway isn't even big or even that dark, but I creep myself out thinking something might be there.
Number 2.
Commenter. Always a little anxious before looking in the mirror because I'm afraid someone might be standing behind me. Person B. Or, in my case, I'm afraid some shit's gonna jump out of the mirror. Person C. I sometimes get really nervous that my reflection is going to do something besides what I do. Person D. When I was a kid I was bored and waiting on my mother at the library and I picked up this horror book about a mirror. I never got to finish it. Ever since then I'm uncomfortable with mirrors and I just put the two together. I'm going to have to sleuth out that book and finish it to find out what happened. Or would that be worse?
F. Typical mirror horror.
Things seem normal at first, but then people start to catch the mirror not reflecting what actually happens. Gets progressively creepier. I think there was a murder or some such. Person E. I remember reading a story a long time ago, super short. Part of a website that I've long since forgotten the name of. I want to say it had the word wolf or hounds in it, about tricking your reflection by pretending to pull a hair from your head, but not actually do it. However, when you look at your reflection it will have a hair between its fingers, and that you can never look in that mirror again. Had trouble looking in one ever since I read that. Person F. I have the same thing, and if you do, I advise if you ever decide to trip on mushrooms, don't look in the mirror at your own face. I went against my friend's advice when I tried it a couple of years back. Never again. Person G. My boyfriend had a figure standing behind him in a mirror once before. He has the terrifying habit of not turning on lights at night, and now I refuse to use the bathroom at his house. I will literally take a piss out his window. Person H. I'm afraid I'll be looking in a mirror one day, and my reflection won't mimic me perfectly. I'll notice, but dumb me will just stand there like, did that really just happen? Then my reflection, while I'm looking him right in the eye, will do this creepy smirk or something.
Number 3.
Commenter. The call is coming from inside the house. Person B. You know how telemarketers can use fake display numbers? Well, about a week ago, one called using our home phone number as the display. But we have a second line upstairs. And everyone was downstairs. I almost started crying. Person C. A salesman who I had sold me some stuff in the past called me on my cell phone while I was working in my garage. The stuff I received wasn't what I had ordered, different, cheaper brand but still an alright deal. I told him I wasn't interested and hung up. About 30 seconds later I get a call from my home phone. It's some dude yelling at me about being rude. The term pissed off doesn't come close to what I was feeling at the time. Person D. Last week I was home alone and got a call from my house. So, like the guy you yell at in a horror movie, I decided to go upstairs to see the other phone. Nothing suspicious at all. I've been preparing to die for a week until now. Person E. A few years ago, my wife got a phone call from my phone. Except I was holding my phone in my hand. We were both sitting right there, confused and or terrified, and let it ring until it went to voicemail. Whoever it was left a voicemail. It said something along the lines of, "Hey, wife's name, I'm going to be late coming home tonight. I love you, ooh." The voice sounded unnaturally deep, like someone was using a machine to distort their voice, and, obviously since I was sitting there next to her when the call came, it wasn't me, as every single message I ever leave my wife follows the exact same format, which this call did not. Another weird thing is that a couple days later, my wife got another call from my phone, while I was right next to her, but this time they didn't leave a message. The initial call confused/scared us so much that I saved the audio of it on my computer and to this day have not figured out what the heck it was. I've been told it could have been a prank. There are supposedly websites that let you call places and make it look like you're from a different number, but if you were going to prank someone, why would you make the message something so generic? And, at the time, my wife and I didn't have very many friends, so I don't know who would do it, or why. The most terrifying question I've asked myself is, what would have happened if I answered the phone?
Number 4.
Commenter. The one about the midget guy that dressed up like a clown and pretended to be a statue or whatever while some girl was babysitting. Why? I'm glad I don't have to babysit anymore. Person B. Normal version. A couple with children were trying out a new babysitter. About an hour after they left for a night on the town, they realized they had forgotten to give her their cell phone number, so one of them called her. After she wrote down the number, the babysitter asked if she could watch satellite TV in their bedroom. She had just put the children to bed and wanted to watch a particular show. The parents didn't want their children watching too much garbage, so the living room TV did not have satellite channels. Well, of course she could watch TV in their room, they replied. The babysitter had one other request: could she put a sheet or blanket over the clown statue that was in the bedroom? It kind of made her nervous. Take the children and go to the neighbors, said whichever parent was talking to her. We'll call the police. We don't have a clown statue.
Number 5.
Commenter. Someone laying on the ground next to their car on a deserted road like they were injured or in an accident. Then when you slow down or get out to see if you can help, a group of others comes out of the woods/ditch/tall grass and robs/kills/kidnaps you. Freaks me out to think about 10 people just coming onto the road out of nowhere in the middle of the night when you're all alone. Person B. I vaguely remember reading a post years ago pertaining to creepy situations that you'd encountered in your life. Best as I can recall, something like, the person posting was in the backcountry of New Mexico, driving home or something. And they came across a car that had been run off in the ditch and ransacked, and 2 people laying on the ground. The guy said he stopped his car, and reached for a handgun he kept under his seat, then slowly rolled by the scene. When he was well past it, he looked in his mirror and in the red light of his taillights, he could see the 2 people sitting upright looking back at him, and a crowd of 20 or so folks stepping out of the desert. He floored it and sped off. Creepy as hell, but I wonder if it's genuine, seeing as it's a fairly common legend. Person C. There's an account of it happening in California on the 10, which is the freeway that goes through the desert to Palm Springs. A retired Marine was driving to the base near 1,000 Palms and saw a car in the middle of the road with its doors open and pinned 2 people laying around it. It didn't look right to him, so he drove carefully past them once he passed. He looked behind to see the people on the road start getting up and about 25 other people come out of the bushes/below the road. Some desert roads are raised up above the desert like on a sandhill kind of thing. Person D. A happier ending but just as creepy version. You are driving along a long road with woods either side, you see a car on the road and a body laying on the road beside it. You contemplate getting out to see what happened, but for some reason you chicken out and keep driving. Once you've passed the scene, you check your rearview mirror to see that the person is now sitting upright, and 10 other people have emerged from the trees, looking at you drive away. It's also creepier if you think of them as some sort of twisted cult that wanted to sacrifice or eat you.
Number 6.
Commenter. The one with the red-eyed ghost boy in the old hotel freaked me out as a kid. Even today I'm too scared to sleep in old hotels. Person B. There was a story on the show Beyond Belief that scared the hell out of me as a child more than any other. It was called The Red-Eyed Creature. It involved the child of the household repeatedly seeing red eyes in the dark at night. The parents concluded that it was only the LED lights from the security system mounted on the wall, but then it turned out to be a ghost or something. And if you remember, Beyond Belief consisted of several stories that were either true or false, and the viewer had to guess which was which by the end of the show. This one was claimed to be true. Lost some serious sleep over that one. Still creeps me the hell out to this day. And a side note, my girlfriend told me about how she used to see red glowing dots in her closet when she was a child. Her parents were separated and this was at her dad's house. She'd have him check the closet top to bottom for some toy with an LED light or some other possible source of the glowing red dots. They never found out what it was. Her friend saw it too, and she hated sleeping there because of the red dots in the closet at night.
Number 7.
Commenter. The rake freaked me out real good the first time I read it. Person B. I have a deep fear of waking up and seeing something / someone / anything unknown at the end of my bed. This shit freaks me the hell out. Person C. I read one about the rake where a guy is staying at his girlfriend's new place for the first time. He wakes up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water, and on his way to the kitchen notices a scary looking thing looking at him from outside the living room window. A little freaked out, he goes into the kitchen, having to go by a partition that blocks his view of the living room. As he clears the partition, he looks towards the living room and notices that the thing had moved to the other window and was still staring at him. He then freaks out and goes back to the room and locks the door. He ends up falling asleep, and in the morning tells his girlfriend about what he saw in the window. She starts freaking out and barricades the door. When he asks her what's wrong, she says that there are no windows in the living room, only picture frames. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.